Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, here with my brief thoughts on Ambulance. This was directed by Michael Bay. We all know who he is, both for good and for bad. And it starred Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and, just so I get her name right, Eiza Gonzalez. I'm bad with names, so I had to look her up. Don't judge me. It tells the story of a pair of brothers, played by Gyllenhaal and Mateen II. The latter brother, played by Mateen, needs a lot of money to pay for an experimental surgery for his wife. However, it's money that he does not have. So he goes to his brother, played by Gyllenhaal, for a loan. And instead, he gets into a bank robbery, and everything goes downhill from there. Michael Bay has got to be the most polarizing director of all time. Not in terms of modern day, but of just all time. There are pretty much two schools of thought when it comes to Bay. There are those who believe that he is capable of good but does mostly bad, and then there are those who think that he does mostly bad and has made some of the worst movies of all time. From my perspective, I'm a little bit in the middle on that one. I have become very accustomed to defending Bay on a number of occasions. He is capable of making good movies. However, there are a lot of things that he does where it just makes it very hard for me to defend him. Just to show that I am fair, one of the worst movies that I have ever seen is from Michael Bay. It was Pain and Gain. It was just awful, and it made me dislike The Rock. Not The Rock personally, but a character played by The Rock. Michael Bay made me dislike The Rock. That's unforgivable. But I have always maintained that whenever Bay does have a movie come out, I always go out of my way to see it. And now that I have seen his latest outing, yeah, this is one of the good ones. This is definitely not a perfect movie, let's not get that twisted, but especially recently, this has got to be one of Michael Bay's best. It's certainly my favorite of his since 13 Hours. Firstly, the technical side of things I thought was very well done. There is some shaky cam, and it is very noticeable, but it's honestly not as in the movie as much as you might think. The rest of the time, the shots are done really well. The action is paced really well. There's a lot of drone shots, which I think can be a tad distracting, but like I said, all of the action was done in camera, and it was done practically. Real cars explode, and when that happened, I was just like, bliss. Michael Bay is one of the last filmmakers to actively use practical effects, and there is some CGI, and it is pretty bad, and he actually said it in an interview he did not like the CGI, and I totally get why, but 99% of the time, this movie is practical, and God bless it for it. Also, the acting is pretty good across the board. Jake Gyllenhaal is Jake Gyllenhaal, of course he's great. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is slowly becoming just like one of my favorite actors. Every time that I've seen him in something, he's always good. And then there's Eiza Gonzalez. I had to look her up because I on my podcast with Jacob, Life in the Movies, I mistakenly called her Ana de Armas. That's my bad. But I recognized her face, and I didn't know where I saw her from. And then it hit me. She's Darling from Baby Driver. And I don't know how I forgot about her, but I forgot about her. But honestly, I think she's the best part. There is a bit of a reputation regarding Bay movies that they don't exactly treat women all that well, and while I think it's a bit overblown, considering the whole Megan Fox situation, yeah, it's a pretty easy theory to believe. But honestly, I thought Eiza Gonzalez was the best part of this whole movie. I related to her character the most, and I wanted to see her make it out of this horrible situation in one piece. I hope Eiza Gonzalez gets more work after this because she does deserve it. Like I said though, this movie is not perfect. I do have problems with it. I did look it up, and this movie is 2 hours and 16 minutes long. With about 20 to 25 minutes of trailers, you're going to be in this movie for about 2.5 hours, nearly 2:40. That is way too long. There's a subplot involving, I want to assume, the Mexican cartel, which could have been cut. Generally speaking, though, the movie is actually paced pretty well. There's about 15 or 20 minutes of exposition to let you know who Gyllenhaal and Mateen are to each other. They lay out everything you need to know about every character, and then it throws you into the scene, the main plot, if you will. And the movie is pretty much 90% this bank robbery. So I gotta give Bay credit. He got the exposition out of the way and threw us straight into the action. I'm not gonna lie, that was a very smart decision. However, there was a lot going on, and I feel like some of it could have been trimmed. And of course, this is a Michael Bay movie, so a lot of his Bay-isms are present here. I won't say where, but there are two distinct references to two Michael Bay movies, The Rock and Bad Boys. One of them is actually more subtle, and one is just a straight-up, reference. And I just wasn't a fan of it. I can't explain why. The Rock one was not bad, but the Bad Boys one, I was just like, come on, man, really? Also, there were these little things that got under my skin. For example, the main cop heading up this operation, played by, and I want to get this actor's name right, Garrett Dillahunt. Basically, the first time we see him, he's in this little car, and he's got this massive dog. And there is a scene where they are chasing the ambulance through this convention center, and he calls it off because his dog somehow got into one of the cop cars. And he calls off the operation for a bit to get his dog back home. Look, I know dog owners are dog lovers to the point of psychosis, but come on. Somehow I found that more unrealistic than Isa Gonzalez doing a surgical procedure with two doctors over FaceTime in an ambulance going 60 miles an hour. I don't know what's wrong with me either. On top of that, Dillahunt's character, during the heat of the operation, starts eating these flaming hot Cheetos. And it just took me out of the movie because on the one hand, dude, if you get that on any of the equipment, that's just gonna spend a lot of time cleaning. At least get the regular Cheetos. That'll cause less Cheetos dust. But in the grand scheme of things, like I said, this is definitely Michael Bay's best outing in some time. I am going to give it a great rating. This is not perfect. I do have problems with it. But I'm not going to lie. I had a good time with this. There was a lot of tension-filled moments, and it kept you invested throughout the majority of the runtime. So give Bay credit. He made a good one. Any of you seen Ambulance? What are your thoughts on it? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say about it. And if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam. I'll see you in the next one.